Yeah, we are live now. Think we just need to copy the link and try share at
Mhm.
least before we. Okay. Uh, we maybe give it a minute more. See
Mhm.
how many people we get to join. Okay. Yeah, I think we can.
Ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, why not?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this midweek edition of the Adopac Talk Show. Again, it's always a pleasure to have you. Yeah, with my friend and co-founder, Song again to share our insight. Topic is a follow-up from last week's on the war in Iran. We're going to talk updates, the implications of what's been happening in the last 12 days. Again, if this is something that interests you, please let us know. We'd like to have you in the comment section or would like you to come on and share your opinions. As always, we would like to remind our guests that we are not experts on this topic that we talk on. We are just two people who are interested in war politics, war sports, war news, anything that's happening. We come here and share our insights. So anything that we say here is our opinions. We're not any organization. So please, if you're coming to share your opinion, do so knowing that you're representing yourself. Again, thank you. Like, share, comment if these are sort of the topics that interest you. Um, I guess we'll just delve in. So, we are 12 days in on the war in Iran. What assessment so far? The US's response, Iran's response, and the larger implications in the region and the world at large. I guess we're gonna take it um, in those little increments.
So impressions. 12 days in. Remember June 2025. On the 12th day after the United States and Israel had attacked Iran. On the 12th day, the sides warring parties arrived at a ceasefire.
Mhm.
Generally accepted that the ceasefire was initiated by the United States on the behest of Israel. And the reason why this was happening was because Israel was beginning to feel the pinch and, of course, decided to call on their big brother, United States, to negotiate a ceasefire on their behalf. This time around is day 12 for those who were hoping that it would have been done and dusted by now. Well, it's unfortunate that it's still going on. I know when the war started initially, we thought it would take 4 days. I mean, I think even President Donald Trump was hoping for a very quick and easy defeat on the part of Iran. But again, it's day 12. And now what we hear is that it is going to go on for weeks and maybe months, depending on who's willing to blink first. What we also know is that the United States seem to be running out of ammunitions. Again, these are the things that we've heard, worries that we've heard from even from top officials in the United States, worrying about running out of ammunition. They are also worried about their air defense missiles. I think they might be or seem to be running out of them. These missiles that are rare and are not produced in large scales. I think what I hear is that they produce about 650 of these interceptors per year. And imagine the United States is using them in Iran, in Ukraine. They are sharing some of that with Israel. They also have allies. South Korea has will need some. Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Again, these are all Gulf states who are under the protection of the United States, which means they also do take some of these air defense missiles or interceptors. So yes, they are quite short and running running out. Iran is still punching way above its weight. We can all agree. Skeptics would have thought that Iran would have decapitulated by now, but Iran is still punching way above its weight, attacking not only Israel but also attacking military facilities, uh, bases of the United States in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Oman, Bahrain, and Iraq. So the Iran is not only dealing with Israel; they are also targeting facilities in these other Gulf and Arab states. So the war continues. Iran is still fighting. You know, just my preliminary, opinions on the war so far. I know we're going to talk about some of the changes that have happened. The new supreme leader. We're going to talk about, the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, which we're going to talk about. Donald Trump's request for conditional surrender. So yeah, we have a few things that we're going to touch on, but I just wanted to end there for now, and then have you tell me what your thoughts are
Yeah.
uh, of this.
Share some of your assessment. The war, I mean, no one predicted how long it's gonna last. No one knew how long it's gonna. Again, the wars are terrible things. Easy to start, very difficult to stop.
Mm.
But again, like you said, Iran, they're still doing missiles. They're still a big threat, especially as you aforementioned there, the Strait of Hormuz. They're still firing rockets to the other country, so they still have a lot of military capabilities. And Trump is saying there is still ways to go. I know a lot of people are saying the process are missile sector is depleting, and there's a lot of concern about. I've seen a lot of people say, yeah, the US has spent a lot already, and they're running out. But the administration seems to think otherwise. The like more we can do, bring it to its needs. They're still talking of unconditional surrender. So, where we are this war, like nobody knows the details. Um, we know there's lots of lives on both sides. I think up to now the count is what 7 US soldiers who have died, tens of them wounded. There's in Iran regime. I don't have the number, but a lot of people have died in Iran. And in
Iran is saying they've lost 1,300 and something people so
people.
far.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that's where we are. A lot of destruction. A lot, if not all, of air missiles, or ballistic missiles. But again, there's still nobody can say for sure that Iran has been cut off. They are still launching missiles. They are still. It's very dangerous now to transport oil. That we talked about. But anyway, my assessment is kind of hard to tell. On the one hand, the US is promising that they say more, they can do more. But military experts are saying they're running out. So I don't know where to pinpoint. I'm only based right now on what the US, the commander in chief, because he's the one running the show here. He's promising more fury. So we'll see where that goes. But one thing is clear: the war has not ended. How long it's going to go, we do not know. And to reiterate, these things are easy to start and very difficult to.
Just talking about capabilities for the United States and where the levels of their ammunitions might be. This is Truth Social post by Donald Trump from, I'm not sure how far back ago this was, but I get a feeling
Ago, yeah.
it was from a couple of days ago, I believe, weeks.
Mm-hmm. No, about 3-4 days ago.
Okay, and again, the why I'm bringing this up is because sometimes we can make conclusions, at least based on certain things that are being put out by people of authority, people who kind of have a little bit of knowledge on what the things are going on. So if Donald Trump is putting out a post on Truth Social saying we just concluded a very good meeting with the largest US defense manufacturing companies where we discussed production and production schedule.
Mm-hmm.
They have agreed to quadruple production of the Escalate class weaponry in that we can in that we want to reach as rapidly as possible the highest levels of quantity. Expansion began 3 months prior to the meeting, and plans and production of many of these weapons are already underway. We have a virtually unlimited supply of medium and upper medium grade munitions, which are which we are using as an example in Iran and recently used in Venezuela. Again, the reason why I put this out was because, I mean, if you feel like you are reasonably comfortable with the level of munitions that you have, why would you be having a meeting with leaders of armed defense manufacturing companies now, right? I get the feeling the only reason why this meeting is happening is because there is clearly or obviously a fear that they might be unable to sustain this war based on a shortage in different kinds of ammunitions, right? And that's why this meeting was required again for Donald Trump to kind of push these weapon manufacturers to kind of do more, produce more. Again,
Right.
I just thought I bring this up because sometimes things like this tell a
Okay.
story as well, right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
I mean, wars now are fought in a different manner. We don't conduct wars now the way we did in 2010 or in 2020. So it, there's a lot of drones, a lot of AI, there's a lot of technological. And so, yeah, he in the same statement said the UA has unlimited. So, where do we stand? Well, Trump is not very direct there, but I see your point. Where your point for production of ammunition definitely suggests that there is um, 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 at least a shortage of severe drugs what the US has in the stockpile. Well, that's a very fair conclusion to draw from that. At the same time, with the same other side of his mouth, Iran can get more than what they already have right now in terms of the fury from the US. So, where do we stand with these things? It's kind of hard to tell.
Mhm.
Uh, but it's a fair point to say, well, we'll be having a meeting with people who are producing ammunition at the point that you use a lot to defend your troops and your air bases and other important areas in this war.
The next thing, which I think is quite important to talk about, is the death of the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and the election of his son as the new supreme
Yeah.
leader. Son's name is Mojtaba Khamenei, 56-year-old. What are your impressions on
Um,
this recent development?
I haven't heard much about the guy. I know he's still in his father's footsteps. Many people think he's not going to deviate. If anything, he's going to come down what his father for. So I'm not entirely sure what the US and the Israel approach is going to be to this new guy. He hasn't made any public statement. He hasn't come out to say what his plans are in terms of the war and how he to continue. But there's a huge following, a huge suspicion that he is gonna be hard, if not harder than his dad in terms of dealing with the US. That's going to make for interesting scenes. Now we know that his dad and a couple of top military personnel were killed. The US is having seemingly some superiority air force technology in terms of conducting this war. So I don't know where he stands. He's coming in a very difficult time. He's been elected in a war when someone very important just died, when a lot of his military personnel and capability have been diminished. Because you can argue it's been diminished on both sides, but we're having a new leader who's coming in a very tricky situation. Do you hunker down? Do you go down? And also keep in mind, they have lost um, uh, uh, the relationships with neighboring countries who you could think were on the same page with them is not the same. It might have been strained considering their response in terms of uh, by the fact that US has bases in this country. All these countries are not really in support of their action. So I think it's going to be a tricky one to watch. I'm not exactly sure where he's gonna line up. I suspect he has to prove to the people that he has their back. He's probably gonna kind of continue in his dad's footstep a little bit, and he will somewhat be more open to a negotiation. That is my suspicion. I may be, but we'll see. It's very delicate situations. Things can things can change at any point in time. I'm leaning that way only just because we are in a very precarious situation with an ongoing war. Iran is not the best following years of sanction and the destruction of some of its nuclear sites and the depletion of its ballistic missiles. So that's the only reason why I'm leaning that way. And the recent loss of his dad and the military personnel. So otherwise, um, if he did come in naturally, I would have thought there wouldn't have been any change. But with those aforementioned conditions, I think he might be open to a different kind of relationship with the U.S. and Israel.
Uh, well,
Yeah, what your point is?
no, no, no. I kind of disagree with in terms of the kind of relationship that you're hoping that he forms with the United States.
Yeah.
I don't see any reason why that relationship has to be different. The only reason why they're fighting is because the United States has a superiority, feels superior over Iran. Israel has always, I mean, for the past 40 years, has always wanted to diminish Iran, so they could be the sole hegemon in that area. That those ambitions have not changed, and I don't see any reason why the new supreme leader would want to be flexible, right? The only way that Iran gets a little bit of flexibility it's only if the United States and Israel can be flexible as well. If they continue to insist on regime change and if they continue to insist on terminating um, the next supreme leader, then of course, why would he compromise, right? You can only get to a compromise if the other party is willing to do so. And from what I know, Iran is not going to be the party that would come up and say, hey, we need to end this and because so far they have been very firm in their positions. They are going to fight and fight until they know that when the war ends, they will not be attacked again in the next couple of months. The president, Pezeshkian,
Mm-hmm.
uh, did also lay down some conditions to end the war. He said that Iran's legitimate rights have to be recognized. So their right to exist as a state,
Mm-hmm.
their right to enrich uranium for civilian purposes, their rights to have friends again have to be respected, right? Secondly, he is calling on payments of reparations for the destructions that have been caused in Iran by Israel and the United States, and also asking for firm guarantees from the international community against any future attack. So Iran is not just laying down and letting the United States and Israel walk all over them. They are also laying down terms. If you want to end this war, these are the things that we want to see happen. And again, let's not forget, a couple of days back, we got news, which I think reliable because, it's generally accepted that Trump had reached out through a third party to request for a ceasefire and Iran said no. I'm not sure if you heard that or if you're aware of that information,
Yeah.
but yes, they did reach out through a third party. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, through Italy, and Iran had rejected their request for a ceasefire, right? So yeah, I don't believe that the United States is going to get it that easy. And let's not forget, Mojtaba Khamenei, who is the new supreme leader, lost his wife and his son
Yeah.
during that attack. So he did not only lose his father, he lost his mom,
Mm-hmm.
he lost his wife and a son. And there's no way that a man who was and the belief too is that he was in the building during the attack and only managed to survive.
Mm-hmm.
That is what is being rumored. At least no one is able to confirm, but it's being rumored that he escaped with his life
Mm-hmm.
during that initial attack. So yes, why would a man like this all of a sudden become soft? This only hardens a man. I mean, it's human nature. If I go through this kind of experience, there's no way I'm going to be harder than my parents, right? So it's very likely that he is going to have a very firm position. Yes, he hasn't come out to make any statement. Yes, he hasn't declared what his policies are going to be towards the United States. I think it's too early. And the fact that they still continue to fight means that he is not changing his father's policy. He's just probably going to walk in his
Right.
father's footstep, right? He also had served in the IRGC during the Iraq-Iran war in the 1980s.
Oh,
He was part of that war, which was fought for 8 years. So it tells you Iran has a history of resisting and fighting. And let's not forget, Iraq attacked Iran with the support and the backing of the United States. So this is not the first time that this is happening. I mean, if you want to go back to history, it's not the first time that the
yeah.
United States is attacking Iran. But again, the last time it did it through a proxy, to Iraq. This time around, they are partnering with Israel to do it. So let's not forget. And it's reported that during the war, that 8-year war, Iran lost about 500,000 people. So these are people who are willing to sacrifice life,
Yeah.
life in defense of their country. It's all that matters. If they die in defense of Iran, I think that is what matters to them. I mean, 500,000 people in 8 years. 500,000. 1,300 is nothing. They would go and go and go and go and go, and that's my my impression on the new supreme leader and on the direction of the war based on kind of the facts that we have kind of gathered so far. So yeah, that those are my impression. I know you probably have some disagreements
But
between.
before you have that, well, I think we kind of touched this a little bit in the last episode.
Right.
Where is Iran in this? Are they getting stronger? Are they plateauing? Are they diminishing in their ability to cause damage to the U.S.? Where in your assessment do you think Iran fits in this sort of arbitrary but sort of three categories? Are they getting better? Are they plateauing, or are they diminishing?
They've only escalated. They've only escalated since the beginning of the war. They've
Mhm.
only escalated. Initially, they attacked Israel, and then they escalated to attacking the bases, United States bases in the Gulf states,
Mhm.
and now they closed the partially or fully closed the Strait of Hormuz. So
Right.
they are more, it's more an escalation. There's no plateauing, there's no diminishing. They are escalating in their position. Because I mean, if we talk of diminishing, then well, you would at least you would see the signs. But the fact that they're escalating and escalating and escalating tells you that there's no signs that these people are being diminished. Again, I'm not saying that Iran is not taking losses. If that's not what I'm saying. What
Right.
I'm saying is that despite the fact that they are taking losses, and despite the fact that they continue to be pounded by the United States, they are still able to make moves
Mhm.
that reverts around the world. The fact that they've closed the Strait of Hormuz impacts not just Israel or the United States. Everybody in the world at
Mhm.
some point during this conflict is going to feel the impact. I could tell you what we're already feeling. One
Yeah.
week ago, a liter of oil in Canada was about $1.20. Today, it's $1.52.
Mhm.
It's $1.52. In the United States, I'm sure you can tell me, you could give me more
Great.
accurate numbers. The
It's gone.
price is gone up drastically.
Mhm.
A barrel of oil that used to be $60 last week, 2 weeks ago, went up to about $120 a barrel.
Yeah.
And then Trump had to come out and make these fake promises that they were going to grant insurance to oil tankers going through the Strait of Hormuz, and then came and said United States Navy is going to accompany these tankers. That was false. And the United States Navy came out and said we are not going to be accompanying any tankers across the
The
strait
United
because
States,
again, sorry,
the United States Navy.
yes, Donald Trump initially came out and said that the United States Navy is going to accompany tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. And then later on, the Navy put out a statement saying that they are not going to be doing that, that they are not going to be accompanying any, and there've been no attempt for them to do that. There's been no attempt for them to do that. And any tanker that has attempted to go through the strait has been attacked, right? So at this point, there's no passage through the Strait of Hormuz. So that again is an escalation. Iran is making sure that not that even though they are getting the heat, at some point every nation is going to feel the pinch of this war, and that is what Iran is doing. To the point where the United States is going to go into their strategic reserve, petroleum reserve, to release 172 million barrels of oil, just in an effort to reduce the price. Because again, I know that in the United States, the price of oil is a key determinant in the popularity of the president. So when the price of oil starts going up with the November elections coming, Donald Trump does not want this. His ratings are dropping drastically. The price of oil is going up, and again, it's just a matter of time before the price of food starts climbing too, right? So they are doing their best to mitigate, but Iran is putting on the pressure and making sure that everyone who is involved at some point is going to feel the pinch. Europe is struggling, and Europe is going to struggle because most of their oil comes from the Gulf, considering that they are no longer buying oil from Russia. So most of their oil and gas, it comes from the Gulf through the Strait of Hormuz. So this is going to impact them a great deal in the near future. Only recently did the United States, Trump's administration decided to issue licenses for India to start buying some of the Russian oil that had been banned, right? Why is all this happening? It's just an effort to mitigate the consequences of Iran closing the Strait of Hormuz. So again, Iran is not, there's no plateauing, there's no diminishing. I think they are just escalating, in my opinion.
Okay, a lot of stuff there, and there's no doubt that I disagree. Anyways, right. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt their resolve and their determination to be able to proceed this war to the end. I don't doubt the president of Iran has made a lot of demands calling for ceasefire. But again, one thing that I don't doubt is that the Ayatollah is dead. One thing I don't doubt is that the top military guys are dead. Okay, you are winning. Of course, Iran has military power and military might. But are we really, in all honesty, comparing the military might of the US combined with Israel to that of Iran? I don't think those two camps are any match. Okay, if we're talking of escalating, you're escalating when your Ayatollah is dead. You're escalating when the top military generals are dead. You're escalating when they're telling you that we know where you're hiding. We can take you out the next time if you want to. So sure, they're putting in a strong fight. They are harming US and Israel in many ways, but Iran, 12 days into this war, is not the same Iran that started the war. They have gone through a lot of losses. I mean, do you need anybody to tell you that the death of Ayatollah was already a very big statement? That happened in about 48 hours, less than 48 hours to the start of the war. That was the first move. Okay, so I don't think it's fair to say that they are resolved and they are putting up a bigger fight than they were at the beginning of the war. I don't think it's the same. There's just two different levels of military might here, and Iran's goal is to bring down everybody that they can with them. They know that they're a dying horse. They are gonna bring down as many people as they can. So they're gonna fire missiles anywhere. They're gonna cause disruption anywhere as possible. To say that they have escalated, I don't think that's a fair assessment, because the U.S. military, I know you're suspicious of their numbers and their predictions. They said they have destroyed a lot of missile launchers, a lot of the ballistic missile launchers in Iran. They've said it's obvious that Ayatollah is dead. It's obvious that the military leader, compared that to how many losses you've had on the Israeli side, I don't know how many. The last I heard was like 11 soldiers. And these are people who, at the same time, are fighting another war with Hezbollah. in Israel. And by the way, we're all forgetting the fact this war is happening in Iran. Okay, it's in Iran. It's not anywhere else. They are fighting from Iran. The ground zero of this war is in Iran. So to say that the resolve and the determination has translated to escalation, I don't think that's a true assessment. I don't think that's fair.
What do you call, what will you call blocking the Strait of? How is that not an escalation in your view? Is that not an escalation?
I think that's a different dimension of war. I'll hardly call it an escalation because if it
What
was
is that?
this, well, but they are not fighting.
How would you describe it though?
Well, it's another strategy. It's another strategy of warfare that they are using. I mean, it's not just US that is passing ship there. It's not just Israel. Other countries. Today, the ship that was destroyed was from was it Thailand or something? Like, what have those people got to do with the war that's happening in Iran?
Didn't they hear that they are blocked the Strait of? Were they not informed that they blocked the passage of the Strait of Hormuz? Did they not get the memo?
Well, but that brings down to the point that what I just said earlier. Iran is going down, and they want to take anybody down with them, innocent or not. Okay, so they are the losing end. They have taken a huge hit, and it's obvious from what's happening. They will take anybody that is in their vicinity to go down with them. They don't necessarily care whether it's the US or whatever. You can see they're firing missiles to airports. Okay, like
is Israel not hitting airports too? I mean, you speak as though Iran is not. So let me break it down to you so you get it.
Okay.
Israel was the first to hit petroleum refineries in Iran. So Iran retaliated. Iran was not the first to do it. Israel was the first to do it until the Trump administration had to call Israel to order, to warn them, stop hitting the refineries. Israel started that. Israel was the first to hit the water desalinization plant. Israel was the first to do that.
Listen,
let me finish. Israel was the first. Iran retaliated by hitting theirs and hitting that in Bahrain and hitting. So you can't speak as though these are actions that Iran took on their own. No, Iran is only retaliating. This war started with Israel and the United States attacking Iran. So Iran retaliated. So you can't speak as though Iran is just picking these random targets and attacking. Iran is attacking airports because their airports are being attacked.
Why is Iran attacking airports in Dubai or in United Arab Emirates?
Because these airports are being used by the United States military. That's it.
And so you come to the point. They are going to take down even people that were.
No, the point is, if Iran is attacking if Israel is attacking airports in the United States, in Iran, claiming that the airports are being used by the Iranian military. Iran has a right to attack every airport that is being used by the American military or by the Israeli military, and that is what they are doing.
Right.
It's Tit-For-Tat. That's why that's why the title of the show says Tit-For-Tat. You hit this refinery, we hit a refinery back.
Where is the refinery? They're
hitting the refinery anywhere. I mean, at the end of the listen, Ghana, listen. You are an independent sovereign state with a military base owned by the United States, from where the United States launches attack on my country. What do you expect is going to happen? You expect that I will just let you be because you are not involved? No, the United States is involved, and these attacks are coming from your territory, so you too get attacked. It's that simple.
Yeah. So, okay. So yeah.
So it's not a random. It's not random. It's not random.
But
Iran is not attacking Turkey.
No.
Because why? Because Turkey is not involved.
Okay.
The United States is not launching any attacks from Turkey.
Right. Why
Iran is not attacking Egypt. Because the United States is not launching any attacks from Egypt.
Right.
So it's not random picking states attacking them because they have to go down with everybody else. No.
They are wanting everybody else. That is what is happening. That is my assessment. They're the dying horse with their last skates. They are trying to. Why did Iran attack the ship that is from Thailand? Why?
The ship is not supposed to be crossing the Strait of Hormuz at this time.
So it doesn't matter. So they just want to cause pain to everybody that's around them and bring everybody down with them. So it boils down to my point. They are not able of attacking the U.S. in the U.S. soil. They throw some missiles to Israel, but then they know that they're going down. They just want to bring.
I get the feeling you're minimizing the impact of this war on Israel. I get the feeling you're barely minimizing the impact.
The way
Israel has been hit significantly. I don't know if you're able to acknowledge that too.
They have, but you
seem to be just passing through. No, you're not acknowledging that Israel has had significant damage in this. You don't seem to want to acknowledge that.
They have, but we're talking of proportions here. Can you compare how much Israel has been hit to the way Iran has been hit? I mean, Netanyahu is still walking and giving speeches. Can you say that about Ayatollah? Like, if anything, forget about the damage.
Netanyahu has been hiding. Did you not realize that his house was attacked? So he too has been hiding. Again, it doesn't matter whether he goes around and gives speeches. It doesn't matter. Why does it matter?
Well, because we're talking about the person who initiated war on one country and another person who is fighting back. One person has killed the president or the supreme leader, the other person has not. And you can't.
What? It's not. It doesn't have to be proportionate. It doesn't mean that because you kill one person. See, first of all, Israel is a tiny state of about 8 million. Iran has 92, 93 million people. So Israel can kill as many people as they want. Iran is still going to be dead.
I'm not talking about many people. I'm talking about the Ayatollah.
You've killed the Ayatollah. People. They have elected a new Ayatollah. They have elected a new supreme command.
Why did they elect a new one? Why
shouldn't they elect a new one?
No, but why should they elect a new one?
It's war. If people die, people get replaced.
You are talking the fact. I don't like. Well, you're doing false equivalence here. You are comparing the supreme leader of Iran to like anybody in Iran. That is supposed to be the most protected person in Iran.
He decided. It was a matter. He decided that he was not going to be hiding. He was not going. He wasn't going to be hiding like Netanyahu and coming out once in a while and making speeches and running back and hiding.
Good.
Everyone in Israel is either in a bunker or hiding in a shelter. We all know that.
Good point. Let's go question here. Who should be the most protected person in Iran?
I don't know. Maybe their president. Maybe their president. Yeah, they have a president. Maybe that's why he's still alive. I don't know.
Do you think Ayatollah should have the highest level of security in Iran?
I think he should have a certain level of security in Iran. Yes.
The highest, one of the highest level of security is in Iran.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So, do you think the president of Israel should have one of the highest level of security in Israel?
Of course, yes.
What are your thoughts when the person who's supposed to have supposedly the highest level of security is killed in the first 48 hours of the war?
Let me clarify.
Mm-hmm.
It was very obvious that he was a target. Donald Trump made it very clear. No, listen, I'm trying to make a point. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump made it very clear that he was going to be a target. So it wasn't something that took him by surprise. And when I hear analysts in Iran and I hear Iranians speak about the Ayatollah, this is the conclusion I get. This is an 85, 86-year-old man who had his own health issues, knew he was getting to the end of his life, and made a decision that he was not going to run and hide like Netanyahu is doing. He was going to stay in his office without the protection that you hope he would have, and that he was going to die a martyr. And that is what he did. He stayed in his office on the first day of the attack, and he died. And his death has rallied Iranians against this war. I mean, would you have believed that at this time there would not be revolutions and strikes against the regime? That was the hope of the United States. They killed the Ayatollah, hoping that vacuum, that leadership vacuum, is going to cause the people to rise up and challenge the remnants of the government. Mm-hmm. That is the only reason why he was killed, to create a power vacuum and to motivate the Iranian people to rise up against the remnants of the Iranian state. That was the motive. Now he died, and he instead rallied the Iranians against the United States.
Fair point.
And now they have a new supreme leader and the Iranians are rallied against the supreme, they are rallied in favor of the new supreme. So again, it backfired in many ways. It's hard for people to understand or to agree, but it backfired in many ways. This war is not going according to how Israel and the United States had planned. They are now on the plan C and plan D and plan. They are making plans and going every day. Initially, they hoped that the Ayatollahs would die, and the people would. And that's why Donald Trump came out. You remember Donald Trump's speech, calling on the Iranian people to rise up and to take their country. That was the motivation. It did not work.
We have gone.
Did not work.
We have gone so far that I want to hunker down on a simple point. I think there's a perversion of truth here to be able to say that the Ayatollah gave himself up to die. That I don't.
Do you agree? Would you agree that people would give themselves up to be called to be martyrs? Do you agree that? Do you agree?
I do.
That? And would it be surprising to you that a Muslim, an Arab Muslim, would do that? Don't they do that every day for little to no reason? Don't they give themselves themselves up to death? Why would the Ayatollah be any different?
Well, he's a supreme leader. He's different.
Which means he cannot sacrifice himself for the. No,
which means he is supposed to have the highest level of security there is in Iran.
Which means he can choose to sacrifice himself for his country.
But because I think you're missing the point here. Should Donald Trump have the highest level of security in the U.S.?
It's not whether it should or shouldn't. We've agreed on that point. Yes, he should.
Okay.
But I am also saying that it is not uncommon for Arab Muslims, for Muslims in particular, to sacrifice themselves for something that they believe in. And it will not be uncommon if it is said that the Ayatollah decided to sacrifice himself for this cause. You are refusing to acknowledge that fact too, which is an issue.
Well, because it goes against.
It goes against what?
Let me answer that. Calm down. Calm down. Well, because it goes against the logic that as the supreme leader, he deserves the highest level of security, the highest level of protection, the highest, because he represents more than one person. He represents an institution.
Man, Jesus gave himself. Did he not sacrifice himself? Let's speak. Let's not speak as though
because you accusing me. You're accusing me of minimizing the damage in Iran, but you are severely minimizing the death of Ayatollah. You think it's just some random Iranian who just died, and you think that life is just supposed to move on as normal. We are talking about the supreme leader of Iran. You seem to be minimizing that fact that this is someone who has been in power for almost 50 years.
Right.
He's not an elected leader. He has this spiritual, political, and social role in his hands. He's the one that dictates everything. The president answers to him. So for you to just minimize and just say he's just like anybody, I get the fact that he can give up his life, but he is the one, because he is the one that dictates military action, dictates how the war is supposed to be fought. His protection is supposed to be supreme, and for him to be taken in 48 hours, you seem to minimize that and to think that it's just a regular Iranian who just died. It's like you're telling me that Donald Trump can give up his life. There are people who are going to prevent Donald Trump.
We are different from these people. We're cut off from different clubs, man.
The principle still holds. You represent an institution. You represent an ideology. You represent the tactics that we are supposed to display to the enemy. Your first move is not to sacrifice yourself. Your first move is to be in a secluded place and direct fighting, direct retaliation, direct intelligence, give permission to that. But you seem to sound like it's just a regular Iranian who just decided, I'm going to give up.
I've acknowledged the importance of the supreme leader for the state of Iran. I do acknowledge it's a significant loss. We all agree. But the point I'm trying to make is this: that because the supreme leader dies does not mean the end of the state of Iran.
No, but
that is the point I'm making. No. Irrespective of the consequences, it does not mark the end of the state. Again, like I said, the Donald Trumps and the Netanyahus had believed that the death of the Ayatollah would put an end to the state of Iran, and that Iran would fall because of the death of the Ayatollah. But I think the Iranians have proven that the Ayatollah is just one man who is given the responsibility to lead them. And in case that Ayatollah dies, another one is replaced. I mean, it took them 5 days to elect for those who were responsible to elect the new supreme leader. But between the 5 days, they had a system. They had 3 people, the president, 3 people who were at the head of the state until the new supreme leader was chosen. So it's a well-established system that is functioning perfectly well. And if anybody had any doubts that Iran was a state with a functioning organigram, I think this has proven them wrong. The Ayatollah died. Yes, it's significant, it's important, but Iran carried on. They continued administering, they continued fighting. Now they have a new supreme leader.
Well, I get that. They are fighting, but your point to say they have escalated is where I disagree. And your point to also, I think at the heart of it is the perversion of truth. To be able to say that the death of Ayatollah doesn't necessarily mean something significant, doesn't mean that
it is significant, but it doesn't mean the end of the state. That is the only difference. That is the difference. It is significant, and that's why they went for that. That is why he was targeted, because he was a significant individual in the plot in the game. Mm-hmm. That is why he was targeted. I recognize that fact.
Is that a huge loss for Iran?
Of course, it has been a significant loss. Yes, of course, I agree.
Yeah,
a significant loss. But again, what I'm saying is that this plan failed because Iran did not fold. The hope was that Iran would fold. There are going to be uprising, and then eventually there would be a whole overthrow. Again, it's regime change. And you know that.
That's what Israel and Trump wanted.
And they failed.
They haven't
at this point. I mean, no. At this point, if we have to assess, it's 12 days, right? And we are making an assessment of the first 12 days. Would you agree that the United States have failed in their objective for a regime change until this point? I'm not saying that they might not be successful. They might be successful tomorrow. But as of day 12, which is today, the regime has not changed.
That was the goal. That was the goal, to get regime change. But there were other goals.
Ghana, we will get to the other goals. Let's talk about the regime change goals now.
That was your main goal. The regime has not changed. But I don't know. I don't know that was the main. That was the goal. They want a new regime there, at least one that's friendly to the United States and Israel. But there are other goals that they have been pretty. I mean, if anything, they've taken out Ayatollah out. They have destroyed a lot of the ballistic missiles at great loss to them too. But
capabilities,
yeah. So is that have they succeeded in the goal?
Yeah, they've succeeded in. I mean, in some of the goals, yes.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. Like, you take your losses. It's not like you have to be perfect in everything. You take some and you lose some.
Like Iran is taking some and losing some. Would you agree to that too?
My assessment is that there are primary goals and there are secondary goals. Okay,
right.
There are central goals and the peripheral goals. Regime change is not. Sure, it can result in regime change, but regime change was not a primary goal of the operation. The operation was very clear. We are going to decapitate Iran of its ballistic missile and prevent them from enriching uranium. We are going to stop them.
Just like they did in 2025.
2025, sure.
Did they end Iran's ability to enrich uranium? Did they end the enrichment program? They did not.
Why not?
They didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. Yeah, I know.
If they did, why? If they did, they will not be fighting another war today.
Well, because they had the same regime there that was bent on continuing on enriching uranium and leading to a nuclear war. What did they decide?
I mean, Donald Trump, a couple of months ago, Donald Trump said they had eradicated. What was the word he used?
They have ended all the nuclear sites.
And then 2, 3, 4 months down the road, they have the same reason. They're trying to end. What are they ending? I thought they ended it a couple of months back.
Okay, so why do you think Trump and Israel went to Iran this time?
I've given you the primary reason, but you don't seem to agree that was the primary reason.
What was the primary reason?
A regime change.
I said that's secondary.
Primary means every other reason is secondary to the primary. Because if you talk about the ballistic program and the nuclear, the enrichment program, Donald Trump announced that they killed that program in July 2025. He made that announcement very clear. So it cannot be the same reason.
You are mixing something. You are trying to make a secondary reason the primary reason, which is where me and you disagree. That is not why they said they went to Iran.
Where did they go to Iran?
Do you want me to Google and read for you?
Yeah, and then let's challenge. Let's talk about them. Yeah.
Okay. Key reasons for the attack include preventing a nuclear army Iran. Okay.
Which they had. I mean, you want to end something that you ended 3 months ago? I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm just laying down my challenge to that point. Let's continue. It doesn't make sense.
That's the first reason. Right. The US. So I'm just expanding on that point. The US and claim Iran is attempting to rebuild. What does what does rebuild mean? Rebuild is promptly attack a nuclear facility. That's point one. Point two, neutralizing missile threats. Israel and the US aim to destroy Iran's long-range ballistic missile capabilities, which they argue could reach both nations and European allies. Point two. Point three, regime change and instability. Following internal protests in Iran, the US and Israel are targeting the leadership of the Islamic Republic, aiming to topple the current government. Point four, and there are 4 points here. Regional influence. The attacks are part of a broader, long-standing conflict to curb Iran's regional influence and its support for proxy forces in the Middle East. You are free and trying to make it the main point.
I mean, let's go one after the other and see how poorly they performed.
Right. Let me send this to you. You can put it.
No, you have it. Just pick one. Let's talk. We've talked about the enrichment, and again, so they are good at the end of the day. The key thing is this, Ghana, and this is what I'm trying to explain. The key thing is this. Why I say regime change is the primary motive is because if they achieve regime change, then the other 3 points fall in place automatically. If they achieve regime change and they get a government that is friendly to the United States, then the 3 other points automatically fall in place. So that is why I insist that regime change is the primary motive. Because if they succeed in getting a regime that is friendly to the United States or that is weak, then there is no enrichment program happening, and then there is no influence in the region, and then there is no missile defense. So the primary reason, the primary motive,
your primary reason,
the primary again, this is the logic. If you listen to the logic that I'm trying to present,
it's your primary reason. It's not the US and Iran's and Israel.
It's common sense, Ghana. You don't have to be a PhD in history to. It's common sense.
It's actually not.
It is, Ghana. It is.
I don't think so.
This is the argument. If the regime remains in place, and you just like they did a couple of months ago, they had obliterated. I think that's the word they used. They had obliterated their capacity to enrich. 6 months, a couple of months, 4 or 5 months down the line, they are saying that Iran is attempting to rebuild.
Right.
It is that regime that is attempting to rebuild, right? So if that regime remains in place, these other 3 conditions are never going to be accomplished. Because you can bomb them from now to infinity. You can go take a break and they will start rebuilding all over again. So the most important thing the United States and Israel want is a regime change, regime that is friendly to the United States. That way, there is no need for enrichment. That way, they would say, we abandon Hezbollah, we abandon Gaza, we abandon Hamas. That way, they automatically limit the influence that Iran has in the Gulf and in the Middle East. So if you take the logic that I'm presenting to you, you would agree to an extent that the main goal is regime change. Everything else is secondary. That is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah. Well,
Which you
I,
disagree, I understand, but I just needed to make that point.
and I'm not saying regime change is not. I'm just saying it is not the primary. Because if this regime was still there, and we all know there have been months of negotiations with this regime to try to get them to halt the missile development of nuclear program. Had it been they agreed to what the U.S. and Israel demanded, have ended in the war?
Why would they agree to that?
So yes, it's a regime and their philosophy on how to operate the world. But then the regime does not necessarily have to go down the route. So they could take another route. They could have still be in power right now. Okay, they're only there because they have a goal. They have a way that they want to operate. They say no, we're going to enrich nuclear weapons and we're going to use it on our enemies. So yeah.
Iran has never said they wanted to produce nuclear weapons. I don't know where that is coming from. Iran has never.
What?
That is why they have a fatwa against producing nuclear weapons.
What?
Iran has never attempted to produce nuclear weapons. Never.
What? So we're just fighting the people just wanted to fight and they wanted to die.
Netanyahu has been saying this for the past 25 years. Netanyahu has been insisting that Iran, for the past 25 years, I mean, how dumb can Iranians be? That for the past 25 years, they have been trying to produce nuclear weapons and have not succeeded. Are they stupid? It is something that Netanyahu had to say to eventually get the war that he wanted. He came out a couple of days back and said he has been wanting to fight this war with Iran for 40 years. He has been preparing for this for 40 years. I'm sure you listened to Netanyahu. I'm sure the information that I'm giving to you is not strange because you've listened to it. He said he has been preparing for this war for 40 years. So this would mean that Iran has been trying to develop a nuclear weapon in 40. I mean, Pakistan has a nuclear weapon. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's more than Iran to develop a nuclear weapon if they wanted to? They have a fatwa that says they cannot produce nuclear weapons.
Okay, so what did the US destroy back last year? You said they destroyed some stuff.
Uranium enrichment facilities.
For what?
For civilian purposes. They use uranium for energy. And you use uranium for health reasons.
See, so you cannot just come and accuse me of just believing Israel and US when you are just believing Iran.
And, I mean, the IAEA said it. The body that manages and does not say that Iran was producing nuclear weapons. None of their reports has said that. I mean, Donald Trump's intelligence, Toshi Gaba, made it very clear. Iran is not producing nuclear weapons. They don't want to produce nuclear weapons. So I don't know where Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump get their information. Or who they listen to.
Google. What the IAEA said about Iran.
Yeah, when you find it, read it.
As of March 2026, the IAEA has reported that Iran continues to enrich uranium up to 60% purity, a short technical step from 90% weapon grade, with stockpile of 440.9 kgs. The Director General Rafael Grossi warned that this material could theoretically produce enough fissile material of 10 bombs. The IA maintained that there is no evidence of current, structured, or coordinated program to actually build a nuclear weapon. Okay, so these people are just speaking with both sides of your mouth. They say,
what are you talking about?
Well, I'm gonna read. Okay,
there's no need reading. You've read the highlights.
Okay,
What else is there to read, Ghana?
You agree to say
they made it very clear they are not producing.
What is the required percentage of uranium enrichment that was 90. Given? Huh? No, that was given to Iran.
Who gives them?
Well, you just said they're part of the IAEA.
Yeah.
They were given 3%.
No, it's not a IAEA that gave them 3%. They got into an agreement with Biden, the JCPOA.
Right.
It was an agreement. They agreed on 3%.
Right.
When Donald Trump came in his first term, Iran was following through with the agreement with I think with Obama. That is where it started. With Obama, the JCPOA.
Okay.
And then Donald Trump came now and said, we are pulling out of. When you pull out of an agreement, you don't expect the other party to continue to follow an agreement that you are not a part of. Right. So Iran decided that, okay, since you are not part of this agreement, we can do whatever it is that we want to do. And they enriched uranium up to 60%, not because they wanted a nuclear bomb, but they wanted to demonstrate to the United States that you need to come back to the table, because if we really want a nuclear bomb, we can make a nuclear bomb. Doesn't mean that they are making it.
Doesn't mean that they're making it.
Just like, Grossi said it. You read the last statement that you read. Can I read the last statement again?
The last statement said,
there is no evidence.
Well, okay. Why Director General Rafael Grossi warned that this material could theoretically produce enough? Could theoretically produce enough.
Theoretically, yeah.
Up to 10 bombs. The IAEA maintains there is no evidence of current structured or coordinated program to actually build that weapon.
What else do you want to know? Well, that's it. Okay. Everything else that is said is talk. Okay. That is the core of the issue.
Okay. Another key finding of IAEA and concerns: enrichment levels. Iran has maintained a stockpile of 60% enrichment uranium with significant amounts stored at Isfahan facility. That's IAEA's concern. Lack of access. The IAEA has lost full visibility into Iran's nuclear program, particularly
as of 2026.
Yeah.
As of March 2026. But, remember that
a lot of people said it's been way before that. Okay.
Before Donald Trump pulled out of that agreement, they had access. Once you pull out of an agreement, we have no obligation to respect the terms of that agreement, because it's no longer an agreement, it's null and void. So our agreement was that the IAEA was going to come and supervise.
Right.
But because there's no agreement, why should we allow the IAEA into our facilities?
Okay. So, well, it's clear that we believe two different people. You clearly believe what the Iranian says.
I believe the facts. No, I don't believe what Iran is saying. I believe what the IAEA is saying.
That what?
That there is no evidence that Iran, that there's structures in place for Iran to produce a nuclear weapon. That is what they said.
But they did say that they have 60% uranium, and
we are not denying that 60% uranium is not what it takes to make a nuclear weapon. But it takes 90%.
That's why on the way to the point. That's the point. It's on the way to the
point. They've ended at 60% for a long time. They've not enriched past 60.
Come on now. Come on.
That is what the IAEA is saying. They've enriched it.
Okay.
You just read the message, man.
Just go round and round. Okay. What is your point of the lack of access? IAEA has lost full visibility into Iran's nuclear program.
IAEA does not go to Israel and inspect Israel's facilities. Do you know why?
But we're talking about
Iran. No. I'm answering. I want to answer your question. Do you know why?
I don't know about Israel. We're not talking about Israel.
What do you mean by you don't know about Israel? The IAEA has nothing to do with Israel's nuclear operations. Do you agree?
We are not talking. I'm sure. Okay, I agree.
Obvious. If you give me an answer, I would move on.
I agree, but it's still the point that we're not talking about.
The point is this: the reason why they have no access to Israel's nuclear facilities is because they have no agreement with Israel. Okay. You can't go into a facility unless you have an agreement and understanding with that state. They have nothing of that nature with Israel, so they don't have access to that. When Donald Trump pulled out of and ended the JCPOA, of course, it means the IAEA ceased to have access to that facility. So Iran stopped giving them access.
Okay.
Which is fair. We don't have an agreement. I cannot respect any of the terms of that agreement. That's a fact. Okay. So Iran does what Iran does because we don't have an agreement. But again, the IAEA says very clearly there's no evidence of any of that nuclear enrichment facility. Fine, done and dusted. Okay. The next goal was to. The last one was for Iran to curb Iran's influence.
I'm sorry. Well, but again, I see on the second point and last point, then we'll move on.
Right.
You're perfectly fine that people have close access to it, and then you believe them fully. I think you are also holding a very blind position here. I know you're thinking you're objective here, but you're not, because you are clearly believing everything that the Iranians are telling us, and you're taking that with certainty and almost respect. But I'm disagreeing, because if you say you're not enriching uranium more than 60%, you should allow access. Like, what are you hiding? What are you trying?
Why would I allow you access? We don't have, America does not allow access to Iran.
I mean, that's not.
No, that's the point. America is a sovereign, independent state.
Right.
They don't allow Iran access to their nuclear facilities. Why should Iran do the same?
But say I steal, and your first response is, "Oh, that man also steal." That doesn't cancel the fact that you are still stealing.
No, it doesn't cancel the fact that the other man is a thief too.
It doesn't. Yeah, that's the point I'm saying. It doesn't cancel, but that's what you're using to defend that you've stolen.
I am stealing because the other person who thinks I'm a thief is also a thief. It's fine.
Yeah, it does. My point is, it doesn't change the fact that you're still a thief.
It doesn't change the fact that I can steal too. I mean, Ghana, if Israel has a nuclear program, if Pakistan has a nuclear program, if America has a nuclear program, and if nobody is going into that program to evaluate, and why should they do it to me? That is the argument I'm making. Why Iran? Why not Israel?
That's a fair point to bring up, but it doesn't change the fact that you are stealing. It doesn't change the fact that you are a thief because your other person. You know, that's where I'm trying to hunker down. It doesn't change the fact that.
Okay, I agree. They're all hiding. They're all hiding.
Don't say you're just doing it for humanitarian purposes, for civilian purposes. No, if you're truthful and you're honest, okay, say I'm not a thief and show us. Okay, let's check your back. Do you really take something from the grocery shop? Is there anything there? That would be a fair. You can say you're not a thief and then put your finger to the other man, but he has stolen. Go and check his back.
Check his back first, because he stole first, right? I mean, Israel developed a nuclear program way before Iran did.
Fair
so
point.
Why not check Israel first?
You see, you've gone again to that point.
I'm just saying.
We've moved on.
Yes.
We were what on the third point? Was it? Okay. The enrichment levels was the first. The lack of access was the second. The Isfahan site.
Mm-hmm.
Satellite images shows regular suspicious vehicle activity at underground tunnel system at the Isfahan complex, prompting concerns about hidden storage.
Yeah, they have to store their enriched uranium. Where do you want them to put it?
Civilian purposes. Nothing.
It's dangerous material, Ghana.
Because the other guy is stealing too.
No. See, these are dangerous material. You can't just put them anywhere. You have to put them in a safe place.
We don't have to know what's happening. Even it's so deep underground that even satellite cannot pick it up. Yeah, but
why should your satellites pick up where I'm keeping my stuff?
You're just doing it for civilian purposes. You're not trying to harm anybody. By the way, you're saying death to America and death to Israel at the same time, but you're just trying not to harm anybody. Yeah,
Ghana, you are a peace-loving Canadian citizen, right? Mm-hmm. When you get into your house, do you open your doors and your windows and let everybody see what you're doing in your house? And you know fully well that you're not committing any crimes. But do you open your house up for the public to see what you're doing inside?
I don't.
Why would Iran do? Why would Iran open up their facilities for the whole world to see?
Well, if you have pure intentions, you should not be.
Don't you have pure intentions when you're in your house?
Well, if the police comes and say we need to see,
who's the police?
You're keeping bombs in your house.
Who's the police in this case? Who is the police in this case? The United States?
No, the IAEA.
They are nobody's police.
Okay.
Anyway,
they're nobody's police, but is it reasonable to assume that there's nefarious activity taking place if you're refusing to have inspectors come in, if you're doing if you're doing suspicious activities under the tunnel? Is it reasonable to assume that there's really nothing good coming out from that?
You have to give evidence to that
right.
assumption.
Right.
We haven't seen any so far.
Okay.
Tosi Gaba made it very clear too.
Uh-huh.
She said very clearly that
Yeah. His
they
voice
have
is
confidence.
okay. Anyway, then that was the third point. The fourth point is no structured program. Despite the high levels of enrichment, Grossi stated there is no structured program to manufacture the nuclear weapons. Take it on.
There's nothing to add. It speaks for itself.
Hammer on that point. Okay. He doesn't have access to this on the ground. He does. Even satellite cannot see it, but there's no suspicion. Good point. Okay.
He should have said because of that we can't make any conclusions to that effect.
Yeah.
When you go ahead and make a conclusion, then I guess you know what you're talking about. We can only assume that he knows what he's talking about.
And the last point, no damage. As of March 2026, IA confirmed that Iran's major nuclear installations, including Bershe and others, have not sustained damage from external military strikes. So
yeah, so Donald Trump lied.
Yeah, so probably Donald Trump. It looks like Donald
Trump. No,
Trump.
it's not probably. If they are saying that, then Donald Trump lied.
Yeah, then he lied.
Obliterated the sites.
At least you believe this one. You believe you believe 0.4 and 0.5, but you don't seem to believe 0.3.
It doesn't leave space for any argument, Gada. That's my point. That's my worry. When a point doesn't leave space for argument, you don't argue it.
Don't argue.
I'm kidding. Yeah, interesting. So yeah, those are the terms or the conditions. Those are reasons why Iran was attacked. Again, I think we've talked about whether or not they have met those objectives or they are meeting those objectives. I think we've had that conversation. Unconditional surrender, is that something that you think Iran is going to do? Because there's a statement that somebody made. I'm going to paraphrase because I can't remember exactly what he said. He said Iran is going to stay alive on their knees fighting than die standing, something like that. So you are going to, they are going to they are going to be hurt, they are going to be damaged, but at the end of the day, Iran is going to remain Iran, damaged but still a state of Iran. I think that's the point that this gentleman was trying to make. So unconditional surrender for Iran, is that something that is realistic?
I don't know what that means. A generous interpretation of.
And again, these statements from our very good friend Donald Trump, not your good friend, but our good friend, because he was a friend of mine at some point.
Yeah.
Not anymore, but
yeah, you deviated. We're still in the fold.
Right.
I really don't know what unconditional surrender means. He hasn't defined what that means.
Excuse me.
So it's hard to tell. I don't know. I really don't know. Does it mean Ayatollah? Does it mean they've destroyed the enemies? Does it mean come and beg that? So it's not clear what exactly. I mean, they are going to determine for themselves that they met the objectives of their Iran or not. I think at that point the war is going to end with a conditional surrender. So I think it's hyperbolic language. Well, no, but it's what they are exactly mean by unconditional. Unconditional surrender for cease and take back. I really don't know what. I think they will assess, look at the options. We've destroyed what we want to destroy. We've stopped them. The tracks of nuclear weapons and missiles that we use reach Europe and some of it on our shore. Like I don't think this is a situation. I don't think it's going to repeat itself because I don't think the American public are ready for Iraq. I mean, long drawn lots of so many thousands of U.S. soldiers, prices going upward. Because people on the are not suffering for too long. I think if war drags on too long, he's going to be feeling home and he might need to change course. So unconditional surrender is sort of the meaning is not own. if the war prolongs, Americans are going to become greedy because it's very important for maintains the stronghold of the house. He will want to stop it another. That is my assessment. Unfortunately, not.
Yeah, unfortunately, not good for Donald Trump. I think if he withdraws at this point, based on the pressures back home and the way the economy, and I mean the stock market, he is a fan of the stock market, and the stock market has been in trouble in the past couple of days. He is not happy about this, and I have no doubt that this if this keeps going, and the uncertainty and the instability in the U.S. markets, the stock exchange markets, the price of fuel. If this uncertainty keeps on, Donald Trump may have to make the difficult decision of pulling out. And again, those of us who are a little bit critical of him at this point would say would take a big loss. But again, it would be taking a big loss in order to prevent a bigger loss, because if he loses the House and the Senate in November, then he will not have a presidency to manage. He will be fighting lawsuits and impeachment trials and things like that. So he is. I mean, he's sacrificed the United States for Israel and for Netanyahu for long enough. I think at some point he's going to come back to America first, or Trump first, because at the end of the day, if this goes on, he is going to be in serious trouble. I have a little video here that I want to play. It is from this guy. Is Daniel Davis. I think he is ex-US military, and he had comments. We're not going to watch all, but I just kind of wanted to play a few minutes. We'll make our observations, and then we can call it a day.
I think this was an epic fail. Absolutely incredible. This is on day 12. There is no end in sight to this whatsoever. The Strait of Hormuz is still shut down. Oil prices continue to stay high. Gasoline prices continue to stay high. You have 7 dead Americans, at least 140 officially listed as wounded. Probably a lot more than that. That's all that's being listed so far. We just lost a $1.1 billion radar array. Half of our THAAD systems have been taken offline. We're now having to bring them in from other countries around the world. We're having to take interceptor missiles back from some of our allies, say we need them here. Our allies in the region are running out. Some may be out within days, and they're already upset because we're prioritizing Israel, and we're basically preventing our other allies from defending themselves. Not that those missiles by themselves were that effective anyway. And you also have the issue that our own interceptor inventory is dwindling. Thousands of these things have been used. Our total annual production rate is 650, and we've gone through thousands, plural, in 12 days. And no one knows how many we started with, but that number is now a lot less, and there's no end in sight for it. You've had 17 U.S. bases and sites throughout the Middle East have been attacked, 17 different ones. You've had 10 different allied countries to the United States attacked by Iran as a result of this war of choice that the president started. Israel has suffered huge attacks. Hezbollah, who for all intents and purposes was declared a dead man walking. They were done. They had just been obliterated by Israel, and they were no longer a factor. The Houthis were no longer a factor. Hezbollah, Hamas, no longer a factor. And yet tonight, just hours ago, at least 2 waves of missiles and rockets came in from Lebanon against Israel to go along with what's coming in from Iran in the north as well. And this is what we want to call a war has succeeded. We've won. First hours, said he.
Sorry.
I mean, this image here is just indelibly printed in America's imagery. This will never outlive George Bush. I mean, this will always outlive him, rather. He'll never live this down. And President Trump going out there today, and now he's talking about, he's bragging about how he came up with the name. That's what you're focusing on? 7 dead Americans, 140 wounded so far. The war absolutely wide open. You cannot open the Strait of Hormuz, no matter what he's tried to do, no matter how much punishment he's listed on the Iranians. We still don't have the thing open. He still hasn't solved that. Everything is open-ended. He said that we're going to just have a regime change. We're going to destroy their ability to run their country. They're still there. He said we're going to destroy their Navy. We have damaged it, definitely haven't destroyed it. They definitely have. They've shown videos where they have in underground bunkers where they have a lot of speedboats, which can be brought out when at a time of their choosing, when it would be most decidedly inconvenient for us. They have those. We said that the IRGC has to be destroyed. They're still very much effective. The Basij, we have hit a lot of those, but there's 500,000 of them, folks. You're not going to destroy it just from the air. And we're already running low on inventory. And of course, the nuclear program, this 400 and some odd kilograms of reprocessed material that could be turned into 11 bombs, according to what Steve Witkoff said, according to what the president has announced, according to what Ted Postal said on our show in July of last year. So no shock on there. All those things are still outstanding. What have you won? See, this is the problem. When you don't really know what your objectives are, you don't know what you want to achieve, and you don't know what the ways and means are. You're supposed to start off with, here's the objective. And then you say, all right, this is what I want to accomplish. Get there. And what is the process to do it? Do I have the personnel? Do I have the trained personnel? Do I have enough?
I mean, we've touched on most, if not all, of the points that he raised, but final opinions, final thoughts before we...
Yeah, he makes a point. Obviously, it doesn't sound like a big fan of the war and other stuff. So, he's making an assessment 12 days. He's not different from me and you here, who are also sitting and reading the news and making an assessment on the war. So he has the right to his opinion. The Trump administration have a different assessment. They think they are doing well. They think they're beyond schedule. They think they think they're ahead of schedule. That's what he said earlier today. So, who are you taking? This guy's word or Trump's word? So, at the end of the day, there's one person who was elected commander-in-chief of the United States who calls the shot, who tells you when we're done, when we're not done, when have we achieved our objectives, have we not? Okay, all of us are just speculating here. We are just 12 days in, and people are making it sound as if it's 12 months. Obama was in Libya for about 8 months. Okay, and we know how many people died from there. So it's sad, the lives that have been lost, but I think Americans are still, most Americans are still supportive. I'm totally for the fact that if it drags on longer, it's going to be dwindling down. It's not going to be the same number. The support is going to start reducing. Again, I don't know that we have a clear end in sight, but we are hoping. I think after the war, then we can have a full assessment of where were the losses, where were the successes. I'm not one to make secondary reasons primary, but so far, they say they're succeeding. I mean, time is going to tell. History will let us know whether they were actually right, they were truthful to their words, or they're actually making up stories. So we'll see. I think 12 days, we're beginning to get, considering Trump's previous comments about war, long-standing wars, and the need to not start another war and wanting to end other wars. I think maybe when we start getting into the third week, fourth week, that's when you start to hear a lot of people panicking and saying, like, Mr. Mara, what are you doing here? But so far, he's still enjoying a lot of support, particularly from his base. But the longer this goes on, and the more challenging that will be to defend the war to his base.
Perfect. Time will tell, folks. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.
Yeah. No comments.
No. Yeah.